Welcome to Plugged In, the full conversation brought to you by Energy Sage. I'm your host, Christina Zagami, and this is a show where we dive deeper with the experts featured on Plugged In. On this episode, I am joined by the creator of Undecided with Matt Ferrell, a popular YouTube channel dedicated to exploring the intersection of technology and sustainability. But Matt Ferrell isn't just talking theory here. He is someone who literally walked the walk by building a net zero home from the ground up, complete with enough solar and battery storage that he hardly even notices when the power goes out. Our conversation covers the real-world experience of living with home energy storage, from navigating hellish permit requirements that delayed his project 6 months to participating in battery programs that help his neighbors get energy during peak demand. We also dig into the practical stuff that matters to homeowners, like how much did all that cost, and is the investment paying off? Matt is very honest about the incredible benefits and occasional frustrations of clean energy home technology, so let's get to it. Here's Matt Ferrell. Matt, your channel, Undecided with Matt Ferrell, for people who don't know, you talk about all different kinds of technology, how it impacts our life. You have a specific focus on renewable and sustainable options. Over 1 million subscribers, a very impressive library of content, and you're pumping up new videos all the time, which for someone who also does YouTube, I'm especially impressed by. How did you get here?
But by accident would be the best answer. I have a master's degree in video production and went on to a different course in my career. And after 20 years working in the tech sector, I was like, I want to do something different. So I jumped into YouTube and started making videos about the technologies that I find most interesting. And it's kind of the intersection of my concern with climate change and just my obsession with technology. And where those two things overlap is the sustainable technologies that I talk about on the channel.
And so have you always had kind of an interest in sustainability and climate change, or was that kind of like a newer interest of yours?
It's been a lifelong thing. Like from being even a little kid, it's like I was aware of it kind of bubbling out there in the conversations. As I got older, I became more aware of it. So it's always been kind of part of me. So it was just kind of like finding that, I don't know, scratching that itch for me of like, I've always been obsessed with technology, and then I've always been concerned about the climate. So it's like, it's been a lifelong thing.
Nice. So what I really enjoy about your content is you're one of those people who really focus on education and sharing what you do, but you're not, promising people that if they do everything you do, it's the right move for them. It might work great for one person and not for another. And that's something that I think is kind of a misconception about people who are into this stuff. They think we're trying to shove it down everyone's throats, but that's not actually the case. You're very open and honest about that, which I like.
Yeah, there's no one solution that can rule them all. It's like you have to look at your individual situation and come up with a solution that solves your specific needs. So there's anybody that tells you just go solar, you should ignore them. Anybody that says you never should go solar, it's a scam, you should ignore them too. The answer is always somewhere in the middle. You got to find the answer for yourself.
Yeah. And talking about that for you, so you've built this net zero home. You have a lot of content on your channel about it for people who are interested. And net zero just means that you are producing at least the same amount of energy that you're using, although I think you're producing a little bit more, and we will get to that. But what drove you to sort of like walk the walk and build this home and try out all this stuff for yourself?
Well, in my previous house, we were kind of retrofitting it. It was an older house from the 1950s, and it was very small, and we were trying to do it there. So it was like we were slowly upgrading that house, added solar to it, batteries. We had upgraded the HVAC system, stuff like that. But we were hitting kind of a barrier of there's only so much we can do in this old house. And I had so many things I was interested in, geothermal heating and cooling, stuff like that. It was like, this stuff is never going to work in this house. And it was also kind of small. So we thought we need to find a new place. Well, why don't I walk the walk and of all the stuff I've been talking about for years, I'll actually be able to experience it. So I thought, let's try to build a house and do everything from the ground up with all these different technologies. So I can actually experience it firsthand, not just talking about it. So that happened maybe, 4 years ago or so, where I kind of got inspired and convinced my wife to go along on the ride.
That's probably the hardest part, right?
Yeah.
Convincing the spouse.
Yeah.
Just to backtrack a little, so you said you tried to do as much as you could in your smaller home. Obviously, not everyone has the ability to just start over and build this amazing, sustainable net zero home. Did you find that the things that you were able to do in your smaller home were worth it, or was it just more of a hassle than it was worth?
Oh, no, it was absolutely worth it. Like adding solar into that house and the battery system, we got a single Tesla Powerwall in that house. it worked fantastic. So it's like, it was one of those, my experience there, it was like 100% new house is going to do this similar thing. The stuff that we weren't able to do because of just costs, constraints of the property and stuff like that were geothermal was just out of the equation. Stuff like that was just never going to happen. So it's like, that's kind of where we were hitting the boundaries of the current house. But everything we did do ended up being worth it in the long run, for sure.
Okay. Was that other house also in New England?
Yeah, it was in Framingham, Massachusetts. So it was like,
okay.
Yeah, about 20 miles away from Boston.
Yes, one of my first jobs was in Framingham, so I'm very familiar. Way back in high school. Okay, so that actually brings me to my next question, because not a lot of people in Massachusetts, we have a lot of people go solar here, not a lot of people choose to install batteries. So what was your reasoning for also wanting a battery?
There was a couple of reasons, but one of them was just kind of like energy security. We didn't lose power a lot, but sometimes in the winter, big nor'easters come through, knock down power lines and stuff like that. And that had happened to us on a frequent enough basis that there was this one time where we lost power for, it was a little over a day. And basically, you have to throw everything out of your fridge, like all that kind of stuff. So it's like being able to maintain your heating and cooling, your hot water, as well as your fridge going, just to have a battery there for energy security was a big one. And the other part was kind of like what I've talked about before of like my interests in sustainability were like, okay, I want to use as much of the energy as I'm producing as I can in the house, but also be able to participate in a program like here in Massachusetts, we have the Connected Solutions program. So I was participating in the virtual power plant. So my battery was helping the broader grid, my neighbors, my community. And that was very compelling for me as well, because then it also helped to cover some of the cost of installing the Powerwall. So for me, it was kind of a little bit of energy security and one of wanting to try and participate in a program that could help the community at large, so to speak.
You were like the all-star solar neighbor.
Yeah.
This is like the crowning jewel of what we try to tell everyone about. This was not on my projected list of questions for today, but now that I have you here and you're telling me that you sold a house with solar panels, what was that experience like? Were the new people like so excited to have solar? Was it something you had to convince them? Like, no, this is great.
That's the interesting thing is like my wife and I were a little concerned like there would have to be a big explanation to people of like tell them why this is worth it. And my wife even put together a little like one sheet printout that she left on the counter so people could take it and see like how much energy it was going to save them and how much it would reduce their bills and all this stuff. And it turns out that really wasn't necessary. In our area here in Massachusetts, it was highly desirable to have the panels on the house and have that already there. So it actually helped in the sale of the house because people saw the immediate value of, I'll have a lower electric bill. This is going to be worth it. I want it. The actual results of the sale, the new owner, this is my fault. Like I said, I'm a tech obsessed. So I did more technology to the house than I probably should have. And so it was a little overwhelming for the new owner when they moved in of me having to, I basically gave them a booklet of like, here's all the stuff. And so a lot of the stuff I had done, they ended up not wanting, but like the solar panels and things they did keep and they enjoyed them.
It sounds like me trying to explain like how to save a PDF to my father. He's like, no, I don't need that.
Yeah.
Okay. Jokes aside, you talked about the Tesla Powerwall. That was the battery you chose to install. Why did you pick that one?
That one I actually got for free because because of all my videos about solar and my EV journey and stuff like that, I had earned enough referral points to get from Tesla at the time. They had a program where you could get referral bonuses and get a free Powerwall, and I got a free Powerwall. So that all I had to do was pay for an electrician to install it. So that's my main reason for doing it because it saved me a huge amount of money going that path.
Did you like your experience with the Powerwall? Do you have Powerwalls in your new home as well?
I have Enphase. I have the Enphase IQ 5P batteries at my new place. The Powerwall was great. It was a really reliable. The software is super easy to use and understand. I really liked it a lot.
Are you enjoying your new batteries?
Oh yeah, they're just as good. It's the Enphase system. Again, it's all in an app, very easy to understand. Set it up, configure it for how much of a backup you want to hold on to. If you have time of use rates, all that kind of stuff is really easy to set up. And it has the wonderful feature of like, if there's a big storm coming through, it will automatically charge your battery up to full to make sure that you have enough battery for the weather event that's about to come through. So it's a nice feature.
That's really cool. I actually didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's super cool. You talk a lot about, like the steps you go through to build your home and all of that. We know, from working in this industry, that choosing the right size system, solar, batteries, is really important for everything to work cohesively. How big is your entire system size, and how did you kind of configure that? Or did you work with an installer who helps you do so?
Yeah, I worked with an installer, a company called Great Sky Solar. They're the ones who installed the solar panel system on my previous house, and I had them do this house as well. I had really good experience with them. They helped me size it, but I went in because I know more than the average person off the street. I'd already kind of semi-sized the system myself. I knew what I was going to need, so I talked to them directly about that. So my solar panel system is about 17.2 kilowatts. And then I have 20 kilowatt hours of Enphase batteries in our garage. I actually wanted more storage, but couldn't do it because of the permitting restrictions of where I live. Like where I live, if I was going to go over 20, I think it was over 20 kilowatt hours of storage, I was going to need to get a sprinkler system installed in the garage for fire suppression, and I wasn't going to spend that, so I just hit the cap and just stopped. But I wish I could have gone a little higher. But yeah, I basically was trying to size the system, as we talked earlier, about net zero. I was hoping to achieve net zero over the course of a year, which I am. I'm hitting that. But I just wish I could use more of that energy myself, because like my battery gets me almost all the way to the next day, but not quite. So it's like there's like an hour a day where I end up pulling from the grid because I don't have enough energy storage to carry it.
An hour a day is not bad, though.
No, it's not bad at all. I'm not complaining. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Especially with electricity prices in Massachusetts. So.
Yeah.
You mentioned permitting, kind of a nice segue here. You've talked in past videos that you hit a permitting hell with getting your battery system installed. Is that because of the sprinkler system, or were there other issues going on?
There was a lot of issues. I don't want to throw shade at my specific utility, but it's there was.
We throw a lot of shade at utilities around here, so.
The permitting process with the utility, they refer to it because I had a very large solar panel array and I was doing a fair amount of energy storage. We had to submit something under the expedited permitting process, and I found it hysterical. It was called expedited, and it took like 6 months to get all the permits figured out. It was like, if that's expedited, I don't know.
You don't want the
how do you define expedited? Right. So it was that of just permits kind of going to the utility and going to a black hole, not hearing anything for months on end. And then you'd hear back, and it would be like, there would be something they wanted clarification on. And then the town I live in is very, very particular about building codes and very strict about certain things that they don't want in their buildings in the town. And so there was a lot of back and forth with them around the permits from them as well. So that was the permitting hell. It was just, I did not expect this much back and forth with the utility and the local town to figure all this kind of stuff out. When I was in Framingham, it was way easier when I was there. So
I know it is kind of funny, and we kind of talk about here how it would be nice if there was just like a universal, because it's so specific town to town. And, a lot of people come to us and ask questions, and I'm like, well, it depends where you live and this and that and the other thing. And yeah, you just never really know with permitting. From your experience, though, do you have any advice to homeowners on how their experience could potentially be less hellish, or is it just like you really can't because it was out of your hands?
It's a little out of your hands, but the thing I would bring up is do your homework before you jump in, and have a lot of patience. So it might just be like sending an email to your local town, finding out what the requirements are for yourself before you hire a contractor to do anything for you. The more information you have yourself, it's going to, even though it may take a long time, it won't feel like you're just adrift, not understanding what's happening. You will completely understand the whole situation. So even though it may take a long time, if you know what's required going in, you'll know what questions to ask the installer. The installer can also hold your hand and help you through the whole process. So it's just do your homework ahead of time would be my big piece of advice.
You talked a little bit earlier about that you did decide to enroll in a virtual power plant program, which for people who aren't familiar, it's kind of what it sounds like. It's a virtual power plant. It's a whole network of different systems, solar panels, batteries that connect together and help neighbors kind of pull from battery systems. That's my really bad explanation of it. We do have a whole video on it. I think virtual power plants are great for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
I've also heard some negative experiences from it. I think that's mostly from the people who have their smart thermostats connected and then get upset when they can't crank the AC at the same time as everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your experience in the VPP? Would you recommend it? Are you still in one?
Yes. In the new house, I'm in a virtual power plant program, the same connected solutions program. In the old house, I was in it. And I also had my Ecobee thermostat enrolled in that thermostat, same thing. So I got to experience it's getting a little stuffy in the house. Why is it getting stuffy? Oh, I'm in a period where they've knocked my AC down. So that is a mixed bag.
Yeah.
But the nice part about that program is that you can easily opt out. So it's like if you're not happy with it, just go over your thermostat and you basically cancel out of the thing and it'll go back to normal. So it's not anything I would say don't do. I would say do it because you're still very much in control. It's the same thing for the virtual power plant for the Powerwall or my Enphase system. You're in complete control. So you can override it at any point, opt out from an event. It's going to reduce how much of a payback you get at the end of the year. But it's been fantastic. On top of which you can still control how much of a backup is in the system. So for instance, like over the summer, like last summer, there was something like 44 events where it drained from my battery. But I had set my backup to maintain at least 30%. So even though the utility was pulling from my battery, it would stop at whatever hard limit I set for myself that I was comfortable with. So again, it's still very much in the homeowner's control of how much you're willing to kind of parcel out. It just depends on that kind of like reward balance that you're trying to find for how much of a payout do you want to see at the end of the year. Because the more you participate, the more money you'll get back. Batteries are expensive, so it can kind of help pay for itself.
So if you have high heat tolerance, then you're A-okay to join.
Yes, exactly.
Although, like you mentioned, though, you can opt out. I think it depends on the utility, but I've seen some that you can opt out like up to 20 times a year without being penalized. So
exactly. Yep.
I think it's still well worth it.
Yeah.
In New England, we don't have maybe as many severe weather fluctuations as other parts of the country, but it still gets pretty wild here. How has your battery system so far handled like the super cold winters, hot summer days? It's been extremely hot this summer for New England anyway.
It's been fantastic. I mean, just actually, I think it was 2 days ago, we lost power. I didn't even know it because the battery system, without a glitch, I'm sitting there working at my computer. My wife comes in and goes, I think we're out of power. And she pulled open the app and was like, yeah, we have no power right now. And I think it was because it was super hot a few days ago. And I think the grid may have just like blipped. And so we went on battery power for like 15 minutes until the power came back. Again, I never knew. So it's that's to me, it's the energy security side. It's like when you have a battery system like this, it's just a seamless experience. You're not even aware stuff like this is happening outside the house. So it's to me, it's been functioning perfectly, exactly like I was hoping.
Have you experienced any extended power outages since you've had it installed?
Not yet. Over the winter, we had an outage that was a couple of hours. That was the longest one we've had. So again, the battery system is plenty big to handle that kind of load. It wouldn't take me 24 hours because like I just described, even when they're fully charged up, it still kind of doesn't quite get all the way through. But like when there's a power outage, I also have a span smart panel. So I have a kind of hierarchy of needs. So depending on what the battery charge is, it'll start to knock off circuits. So I can very quickly reduce the house's energy load to extend the battery life during a blackout.
Wow. You really have it like all figured out. Yes. I love it. I love it so much. Massachusetts, we don't deal with a lot of severe power outages or extended power outages. Obviously, though, severe weather is getting more frequent, getting more severe, especially in places like Texas, Florida. Do you think that solar batteries or home batteries rather, are the best solution for homeowners who are looking to keep their lights on during things like hurricanes, tornadoes?
Yeah, if you're concerned about that kind of stuff, I think it is 100%. And the prices are dropping and there are new batteries coming on the market all the time that are very cost competitive. So it's like, don't even just consider Tesla Powerwall. It's like there's so many options out there that are very cost effective for whole home backup. Again, with the statement I said before, don't take me as saying everybody should go get a battery, because it's going to be everybody's use case is going to be different. But if you're somebody that is very concerned about energy security because of tornadoes or hurricanes or blackout conditions, if you live in Florida, that kind of stuff, battery is probably where you should be looking first, because it's going to be the most economical long-term solution. It's quiet, no fumes, no gasoline. It's like some solar panels will keep it charged up. So it's self-sustaining. It's a wonderful solution. So I would highly recommend it.
You kind of just brought this up, but in terms of the pricing, you've been very honest with people. You spent, I believe it was about $90,000 total on your system. Is that?
Yeah, it was expensive.
Is that the price?
Yeah.
Not cheap.
No.
Do you honestly feel that investment has paid off?
It will. Yes. I would say, like, right now we're only 2 years in, and for the system to fully pay itself off, if there was like no incentives at all on what I had paid, it'll pay itself off in 9 years. So
not bad.
That's not bad. And this is a house I'm going to be living in for the next 25, 30 years. You know, it's going to earn itself back. Like, I did the calculations where it's going to save me over the next 30 years, $196,000. So if you just look long term, it's going to make sense. With the incentives that I'm getting back from the system, it's going to be much shorter. It's going to be something like 7 years for my setup. So in about 5 more years, the system should have theoretically hit kind of its payback period. So it's been well worth it financially. But again, it's not just about the finances. It's also about energy security. I keep hammering home on that, because it's like, it's hard to put a price on that. People install whole home generators for concerns like this. So it's like, instead of installing a whole home generator, I installed solar panels on a battery system, achieving similar results, and it's going to save me money on my bill at the same time.
What does having energy security mean for you and your family?
Well, there's the whole thing of just not having to worry. There's just no worry. I don't, like, I was sitting at my computer and the power was out in the neighborhood and we never knew. Like, it's that sense of security for my family, knowing that we will have spoiled food in the fridge, that we don't have to worry about any of this kind of stuff. To me, it's that sense of relief that makes it all worthwhile. Do
you feel at all, with, you know, a lot of incentives going away at the end of this year and utilities, some utilities in some parts of the country are like very friendly in installing solar, others not so much, solar batteries. Do you feel at all like current policy and utilities is maybe limiting the benefit of installing home storage?
Yes, 100%, without a doubt. So with the latest changes that are making these incentives go away, I think is incredibly short-sighted. It's going to really kind of hamper homeowners being able to get into the market of doing this for themselves, which I find just incredibly sad, because there's so much benefit from it. On the flip side, when we talked about permitting and things like that, you'd mentioned, I wish there was a simpler, universal way. If you look at Australia, what they're doing for how solar is installed, you literally pull out your phone, you go to a website, you fill in a little one-page form online, hit submit, and within 24 hours, you get the okay or not okay. And if you get the okay, you literally could have the solar panels installed the next week.
That's crazy.
That's it. And they have incredibly cheap solar. And part of the reason it's incredibly cheap is that process. It's like, if we can get permitting and make the whole process of getting it installed in your house easier for the installers, the contractors, easier for the homeowners, the cost of actually getting it installed will get way cheaper with or without incentives. So it's like, there's just so many things we could do to make it better. And I'm just really frustrated that the current policies are hampering it for basically everybody.
Yeah, it's what Australia has going. It almost seems like a Carvana for solar.
Yes.
Like, order it online. Not that this isn't an ad for Carvana, but it seems like something that should be that easy. You know, it's really easy to get connected with a solar installer, but then the process of going through all the red tape to actually get it on your roof.
Yeah.
On a more optimistic note, where do you see home energy storage heading in the next 5 to 10 years? Or at least I hope this is a more optimistic note.
No, this is very optimistic. It's like the cost.
Okay,
the cost of batteries themselves have been like falling off a cliff for the past decade. It is dramatic how much cheaper it's getting. And there are new batteries coming to the market, like sodium ion batteries are coming to the market, that are going to be crazy cheap compared to lithium. They're more equivalent to like a lithium iron phosphate, which is what's in my battery in the garage. So it's like, In the next 5 to 10 years, I think home energy storage prices will be way lower than they are today, way more accessible, which I'm super excited about. I'm also seeing more stuff come to the market, more modular approaches to home energy storage. So it's like you wouldn't have to go out and get this big $10,000 Tesla Powerwall or big Enphase system. You could start small, spend a few $1,000s to get something installed, and then over time just add to that stack slowly over time as money allows or needs warrant getting more. And there's also other companies I know of that are coming out with products that are going to be very geared right towards people who live in apartments, people who don't have homes, where you can add modular batteries inside the house and just plug it into a wall outlet. And these batteries can work together and give you the same benefits as having a energy storage system in your garage, but it's yours. It's portable. You go to a new apartment, it goes with you. So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, the options that we're all going to have, whether you're a homeowner or not, it's going to be fantastic.
Do you think there's any way that we can help increase battery adoption?
That's a really hard question. The only way to increase it would be it's if you're talking about like for you and me, I think it's just communicating and telling as many people as we can what it's like to have it, what the benefits are, why you would want to get one, and why the cost is justified. And then on the stuff that you and I can't control, it's what I just mentioned. It's like we need cheaper batteries, reliable, safe, cheap batteries. They're coming. They're absolutely coming. But like once those get here and us kind of like, truth to power, talking about like all the stuff that the benefits of it, I think those two things combined will really help grow the market.
I agree. You've helped over 1,000 people go solar just by making content, sharing your experience. Do you feel a responsibility as an influencer in helping, people make these major financial decisions for their home?
Yes. I didn't used to feel this way, but as my channel got bigger and I hate using this word, the influence got bigger, I became more and more aware of when I say some of this stuff, there's a weight to it. I have to be very cautious about what I'm promoting and what I'm saying, which is part of the reason why I try to be very open and honest about my personal experiences with this stuff, because I want to, warts and all, got to describe it all, because I want to make sure everybody is well armed to understand what they're getting into.
What advice would you give to someone who is between a regular home generator or a home battery option for their backup power?
Again, that's going to be very individualized.
Okay. See, he's not a solar salesman.
No, I'm not. It's like I could totally see somebody who might live in an area that has lots of power outages that go for extended periods of time. And if those extended periods of time are in the conditions where it wouldn't be conducive to generating a lot of solar power to make up and charge that system, and maybe you don't have solar, you're just looking at battery. It's like if you don't have solar, it's like a generator might make more sense in that situation. If you have solar, the case for a battery gets better because the solar panels charge the battery. But I'm just thinking of like, if you're like in an area that's having a huge hurricane and knocking power out, and it's going to be very cloudy, and you're not going to be getting a lot of solar production for days at a time, there might be a rationale for why you might want a generator over a battery. But for me, I think it's more about, do you have solar or not? You'd need to know that to really answer the question. If there's no solar, maybe a generator. If there is solar, I'd still argue for battery.
Okay. We have seen a lot of utilities I shouldn't say a lot. More utilities are increasingly starting to use grid scale storage for towns. Do you think that if more utilities were able to do that, install solar, install backup battery storage for entire towns, do you think that home batteries would still remain relevant for individual homeowners, or do you think there would be kind of like a centralized solution take over?
I think it's a good question. I think my personal take is I think utilities should be spending more time on home batteries. There are utilities here in New England, I think it's in Vermont, program where the utility actually pays for the battery that goes in your house. So it's like you're basically, as a homeowner, getting benefit of having a power wall that you didn't have to pay for, but it's their battery to use as a virtual power plant system. And they don't have to lease land. They don't have to build major infrastructure updates. They get the benefit of just all the homes that are there, just put batteries in all the homes, and you get the same kind of benefit out of having a centralized, gigantic grid power system. So I would actually make the argument of not going all in on grid scale storage. You need it, but I don't think you need to provide the entire town's power from that system. I think they're both complementary.
Sort of backtracking a little bit, but you talked about the responsibility that you feel like you have in making sure that your content is, truthful, but also, making sure that you're not promoting something that might not fit everyone's individual needs. What is like the one thing that you hope when people come to your channel that they can take away from specifically on your like net zero home content?
There's a little bit of a learn from my mistakes.
It's important.
Yeah. I kind of look at the content that I've been putting together as like a menu. It's like, look at all the different options. You don't have to do all the options. If there's only one thing I've talked about that you go, oh, that's interesting. That's great. Like, you don't have to do it all. It's like, I hope people take away, I'm just showing and talking about options. It doesn't mean you have to do it. I just want to raise awareness that some people don't even realize some of these things are even an option in the first place. So the thing I want people to walk away with is just a broader understanding of what they have to choose from to make their homes better.
And looking back at those installation challenges and mistakes that you've made, what is something that you would tell homeowners about the process of like vetting installers, project management for installing these complex systems?
It's what I said before, which was do your homework ahead of time so you know what questions to ask. Because oftentimes contractors, I don't want to throw contractors under the bus, but it's like contractors will sometimes say one thing to get the sign on the dotted line, and then it turns out they don't have all the knowledge that you thought they did, and you may end up knowing more about it than they did. And so you may find yourself having to kind of shepherd them through the process, where if you did your homework earlier and knew exactly what questions to ask, when you're hiring contractors, you could ask key questions to get a sense of, do they know as much as they're claiming to? Or do they actually understand what I'm looking for? And then if you get those red flags, those warning flags going off in the back of your mind, listen to them and find somebody else that's going to be a better fit for you.
You seem to have had a good experience with your solar installer.
Yeah.
Were they the first people you talked to? Did you vet other installers? Did you have those moments where you were like, this person's trying to sell me something not right? Like, what was your quote gathering process like?
The first time I did it in my previous house, got a bunch of quotes. I can't remember how many. I got a bunch of quotes. And one of the reasons I went with them was no pressure. Like, there was no pressure. They were willing to answer any question I had. They were very honest in their responses for everything I was looking for. That was what attracted me to them in the first place. And then when I did this house, I did get multiple quotes. I didn't go straight to them. I did go to them, but I also got a few other quotes because I was considering different systems and different things. And I wanted to see, are they still price competitive? That kind of a thing. So I still was doing my due diligence, but it wasn't quite as many quotes as I did the first time around, because I was like, I know these guys, I like them, their price is still very competitive, so I'll go with them again.
Nice. I think that's really helpful feedback for people who are going through the process, because it is so easy to hear something and be like, great, but you do want to make sure you're getting multiple quotes, you're having those different experiences.
100%.
All right. My last question for you. For listeners who cannot afford to do a full net zero renovation, what do you feel like is the highest impact or most affordable step that they can take toward creating a more energy resilient home today?
Home insulation. Lowest hanging fruit. If you have any kind of access to getting a home energy audit, that will be the best money you can ever spend on your house. Like in Massachusetts, we have the Mass Save program. Somebody will come to your house. They do a basically energy audit. They'll do testing to see what kind of insulation you have, what you need. They'll give you recommendations, and then you can just take it from like the things that will be the highest impact for every dollar you spend. But the insulation and the air tightness for your home is going to pay in dividends over time. And that's not even changing your HVAC. That's not adding solar or anything. So check the insulation in your house and make sure things are airtight, not leaky, like leaky windows and leaky doors, stuff like that. That's where you're going to win the most.
All right, Matt, thank you so much. This was so fun. Do you have any other things that we might have missed? Anything else you wanted to mention or talk about before we sign off here?
No, just my big recommendation is keep an open mind on all this stuff. Just try to ignore a lot of the very politicized arguments around these things and just do your homework. Keep an open mind.
That'll do it for today's episode with Matt Ferrell. Big thanks to him for sharing his real-world experiences and for that great reminder that when it comes to home resiliency, it's better to start small than not at all. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and stay plugged into all of our latest content.